When I am in adoration, to try and think about where my life's going and how God can help me get to the place He wants me to be, because I believe that the reason why I'm here is to serve Him in every way I can. And in order to know what He wants me to do, I need to listen. And that's where adoration is so crucial, because it gives me the opportunity to listen to what God wants me to do. For me, one of my first personal experiences of my faith was actually when I was going through quite a hard time. I was about 15 and my father had passed away, and I was in quite a desperate place. And one night I was praying and I really needed God, I really needed His help. And He came to me in a vision. It was a real shock at the time because I'd kind of never experienced anything like that, but I was just so desperate, and just to see God's face, to see Jesus' face was so reassuring. And I kind of saw Jesus with His hands open, and He had a crown of thorns on His head, and His heart was glowing, and He didn't say anything, didn't do anything, but for me it was just that presence of Him being there was really touched me, and really was kind of my first experience of being really close to Jesus. And looking back, I actually realised that there's quite a lot of symbolism in what I saw. So for example, the crown of thorns I thought represented the pain I was kind of going through at the time, but then Jesus's heart was there to show that actually He really loved me. And then He had His arms opened, kind of drawing me in, showing that He, no matter how hard life could be, He was there for me, kind of building me up and saying, you know, you're going to be fine because I'm always here. Growing up, it was quite easy for me to practice my faith because I was in a Catholic family. We went to Mass regularly, and so it wasn't until actually I left to travel, and I went to South Africa to teach English, and I stayed in a very rural place. And there I stayed with a family, and because it was so rural, we couldn't actually go to Mass even every week. And for me, that was a real challenge. It was really hard, but it was because the family we just couldn't get there. And so that experience, because I really loved Mass, it really taught me the appreciation of sometimes not having the opportunity to go, purely because you physically can't get there. And so now every time I go to Mass, I thank God, and I thank Him for kind of giving me the opportunity to be in His presence and to receive Holy Communion. So then I went to Albania again to teach English, and I stayed with the Salvatorian sisters, who actually live in the convent next to the parish. And it was part of their kind of daily routine to adore Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. And I hadn't had a lot of experience before. I'd gone to Mass, but I hadn't had a lot of experience of adoration. And it was kind of my first love of adoration and love of the Eucharist. I would spend sometimes an hour, sometimes more, just in the presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. And it felt like only 10 minutes because I was just so close and at one with God. And I was able to just share everything, any worries, everything that I had in my heart with Him so openly, and know that He was there. And sometimes people have said to me, well, how do you know God is actually there, or Jesus is there in the real presence of the Eucharist? And I always said, well, I don't doubt it, purely because I can feel Him. I can actually feel His presence and feel that warmth, feel that love kind of surround my body. And it really is an amazing experience for me every time I go to adoration, and really do feel Jesus' presence. So following my travelling, whilst I was at university, I had an amazing experience where I got to go to World Youth Day in Rio with CAFOD. And whilst I was there, we had the opportunity to experience adoration. But this was adoration unlike anything I'd ever known before. It was on a massive scale because originally the venue was actually the airport, but that was flooded. And so everyone was on the Copacabana beach, along the whole beach. And because it was there, all the locals could come, where before they would have had to have got tickets. And so it was 4 million people, and you could kind of hear the waves rolling in and beautiful sunshine. And then Pope Francis came out with the Blessed Sacrament, and it was so overwhelming sense of community, being surrounded by all these people, but also the immenseness of Jesus' presence. Even though I couldn't see him because he was so far in the distance, I could see the screen with the monstrance on, and I was just bowed down by God's love, and everyone was on their knees, and you could apart from the sea, you could hear a pin drop because it was so powerful, that experience, and being in his presence was just unbelievable. It lifted any burdens I had and just lifted me and really drew me closer to him. Whilst I was at university in my third year, I had the opportunity to choose what my dissertation was about. A quote from the Second Vatican Council that really touched me, and it was, "The Eucharist is the source and summit of Christian life." I realised actually that is so true for me. The Eucharist really is the centre of my life. And I wanted to look at and investigate to what degree, that was the case for other people and within the Mass. And I loved that process and that experience of being able to understand academically what the Eucharist was, and that really deepened my spiritual understanding and my spiritual journey with God. It drew me so much closer in that year to God. After all of those experiences, today my love of the Eucharist is so central to my life, as it has kind of developed over the years through all those experiences. And even in the last 5 years, I have sometimes drifted away and, found that actually life is busy, and I've not realised that I haven't actually been to adoration for a while, or I haven't connected with Jesus in the Mass. And even though I've at times, gone away from God, I know that the time when I come back to him, or I'm like, oh, I have an opportunity to go to adoration, and that really spiritually fulfills me, being able to just be with him and pray with him. Now, my relationship with Jesus has grown from all these experiences. Even though life can be hard, all the time things hit you and you don't realise they're coming, or you go through a difficult time, I will always know that Jesus is there for me, and that is really, the Eucharist is at the heart of that, whether I go to Mass or whether it's in adoration. And that has been a real journey for me to actually just to give it up to God, and just to let him direct my life and let him take me wherever he wants me to go. The more I do it, the more I can train myself to focus on listening to him and hearing what he is trying to tell me, and discerning that purpose he has for my life.